How's it, everybody?
Hi.
How you guys all doing?
Okay.
Still hot in Cape Town.
Yes, like tell you what, eh? I can take some of that to Joburg now. We need some rain and some cool weather. Yeah, sure.
Coolest weather.
Coolest. We want coolest. That's what we want.
Like it.
So, but yeah, otherwise
The
all
wind's
good.
sounding a bit today, so it just takes that edge off. But yesterday,
Yeah, so
oof,
Monday was started to get, it was quite windy, and I thought, oh, that's like it's gonna be cool. And then yeah, yesterday when it was supposed to rain, it just like destroyed all hopes. I don't know.
in Afrikaans there's a saying, and it's very Afrikaans, so and it's quite old school, maar die kraaie gaap.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like that dead heat. Like it just sits and it doesn't want to do anything. Like where you move, you just move very slowly to the next position because
Yeah, no, it's definitely a bit like that. So
ugh.
in anyway, all good. So how did you guys go with playing around with messaging?
Okay, let me go first.
Yes, you do that. Well done. That's what we like. I'm going to take initiative.
I've got the easy answer. James, I don't know why. I don't use it at all. About I also do about 30 a day. And I would say 95%, and I pick executives and CEOs, fairly high flyers. And I just say connect, and I've got about 95% yeses on all of it. I do not send the message.
Okay.
I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but it's working.
All right. Well, sometimes I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. I mean, I wish I knew, what was special about it, or why it worked, or whatever the case may be. But it's working.
So it's interesting, and you may need to test some other stuff, right? Because
Okay.
like I was saying to you last week, the proof in the pudding is not the connection request. It's that, do I get a meeting after that?
Yes, I
So
agree
so
with
so
you. Yeah.
so that's going to be quite interesting to see. But I think also your profile obviously gives a lot to your ideal client. So when they're receiving a connection request and they have a look at the profile, it kind of makes sense. They may not fully understand, but you don't scream, I'm going to sell you something, right? Some of us do, unfortunately, based on what we do. I don't think you're one of them, and so
Mm.
there's probably quite a lot of interest. But um, again, your message to market match is good, and so that's probably a big reason for it. But what you'll need to do is it's tough for you to judge now, right? You'll
Yeah.
have to judge that sometime into the future. But
Yes.
as you get into the next pieces, what we'll do today, if you're finding that you're not booking any meetings, then maybe you need to qualify a little bit more, as it were, in your connection request, because that tends to be the difference. So it's not so much the actual connection request, because it varies. Um, most most of the sales type people will tell you actually get more people to accept a blank connection request. I'm not sure I completely buy into that, but it's the second message that counts, because the way you want to think about this is that when you send somebody a connection request and they accept, that message that you sent, that connection request, is and will forever be the first message in that sequence. And people can always go back and look, and particularly when you start sending follow-up messages and they don't really remember who you were for the first 2 or 3 years. Just Andre Eric. Um, the only thing that they can do after looking at the profile, maybe that'll jog a memory, or they'll go back to the message. And so that message is always there, and it starts the conversation. Many times, if you draft that message well, it does give a little bit of a hint of what you're about. So the follow-up message
Okay.
is actually
Okay.
a second message in the communication channel, where your follow-up is going to be your first attempt at communication. So
Yeah, that
it's
makes sense.
it's a
I
small
hear what you're
subtlety,
saying.
and you'll have to test it. You need about at least probably 300 connection requests to make sense of it, right? So you've got a little bit of testing to do.
Okay.
Punch it out, test it with or test it without, and then see what happens. But for me personally, I always want to get more people to accept the connection request upfront. That's always a goal. If I can do that, that's great. But sometimes it's better to get less upfront, but more down the line. But you won't know that now. But listen, anytime you're getting 90%, you take that most days. So that's pretty good going. All right, cool. Inge, did you play around with it at all?
So I actually had a very interesting interaction this week. I had sent out a connection request before messages. Like, I have the same scenario that Andre has. Generally, my connection requests get accepted. And I've started being a bit more like, not standoffish on the people that request connections with me, but, kind of like just going through it and, what value, and I actually go onto the profile and see what value will this add for me. Is this just somebody wanting to sell me something, or is this somebody who wants to actually reach out? So I had a very interesting connection request. Well, I actually sent the connection request and had the client come back to me, and I'm going to read it to you. He says to me, he wrote back to me and he said, hi, I hope you're well. Do you have the auction arm of your business for sellers who wish to sell an auction for those properties, blah, 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 blah. And I said to him, thanks so much for reaching out. Thank you for for accepting my request. I said, no, not at this time. However, I am interested in finding out more about how auctions work in the UK. Because obviously the auction arm to property is something that works differently. Does it work differently and all of that? And that kind of started. So he actually reached out to me, and I quite liked his idea. So I said to him, I'm actually interested, but I don't have any deals on the table now. This is purely for educational purposes, right? And he wrote back to me, and this is where it drew me in. And I was actually like, hold on, this guy's got something, and I want to play around with it. Where he said to me, thanks. I'm sure that you say that to many businesses. He was straight out. He said, that approach you. How can I make sure I will actually be remembered? I really think that we could provide a great service when the time is right. And I actually sat back and I was like, obviously the whole LinkedIn training and, trying to see what caught my eye. And I was like, geez, okay, you've actually got my attention here. You were actually like, seriously, exactly. That's exactly what Adil's saying. He flipped the script on me. He was like, how can I make sure that you remember who I am? And then I kind of went in and I said, don't underestimate the value of your message. Seriously. I said, we don't generally work in resales, blah, 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 blah. But please send me a company profile, some success stories, some numbers, things that I can go on with education, which he obviously sent through to me. And in the email then, he said to me, why don't we have a 10-minute conversation? So without me even knowing it, he's done exactly what I should be doing, flipping the script on that client. And
Actually,
it caught my attention.
Actually, all he did was have a conversation with another human.
He did. Yeah.
That's actually all that happened. So,
exactly.
You're
He
trying to
humanized the whole interaction.
Yeah,
it's like I've met him.
So you could you can analyze it backwards, but actually at the end of the day, that's really what it is. On LinkedIn, it's kind of interesting. I'm spending quite a bit of time at the moment doing a much deeper dive into messaging. I'm trying to build out a GPT for this. It's quite a challenge. It's not quite as simple as it looks, but a lot of the conversations we have are exactly that. And for those of you that already have existing connection requests, right? I'm teaching you kind of like a 1-2 punch right now. So a connection request, and then what I'm going to teach you today is a nice little template for a follow-up. And that's where the scope of what we're doing here will end. But kind of what you said is the next step in the iteration is, okay, well, how do we take the conversation on? And a lot of times reaching out to somebody. So if you've connected with somebody before, so Andre sent out a bunch of connection requests, people have said yes. So he goes back to some of them 3 months ago. You look at it now, you look at the profile, now you want to start a conversation. How do you start a conversation? Right? That's the question. And this idea of starting a conversation, it doesn't have to be chit chat. Okay, if that makes any sense. Inga, your conversation wasn't chit chat. It got to the nub of it, and there was a meeting of minds. So that was the first thing that was important. And there was a meeting of minds because one of you did some proper work before you did the outreach, and the profiles backed up the story. So the conversation can flow directly and quickly, and be focused on what it is that you do, but it doesn't have to be, hey dude, you want to buy my shit.
No.
So your conversation was anything but that. And there'll be a 10-minute conversation, and if there's other opportunities that will happen in the future, that's just how it works. And that's the way
we've actually signed up a partnership for him
Yeah.
to be our, because we sat down, he gave me all the information I needed. He's given me everything. We've actually had the conversation, and I actually said to him on the conversation, I said, you floor me a little bit with your approach. And he laughed, and he was like, why? And exactly what you said. He's like, I just reached out. You said you could have a hit and a miss. Somebody could have ignored me. You responded in a human way. You responded personally and said, thank you so much for reaching out. He says, and yeah, you get those. It's a hit and a miss at the best of times.
So you'll see a lot of that now, right? Because like AI has become such a prevalent thing, so a lot of people are kind of using AI, and a lot of people were using AI before ChatGPT AI, right? I mean, I've been using AI to send connection requests for years already. So people like me have been using it for a long time, but you have to now start getting better and better and better at the messages that you send, right? Typically in the context that I'm teaching you now, I'm not really teaching you to use an automation tool to send it. I'm trying to teach you the more one-on-one approach, because I think that's going to be a better approach, so that you have those types of interactions that you've had now. I think in the big scheme of things, if you do this quite seriously, the reality is, if you're going to do a lot of sort of in-depth outreach where you're going to take some time and you're going to look at a profile and you're really going to speak to it, you really will get to send less connection requests. And I think there's a happy medium where you do that, but you'll get a much better response, even if that was just 5 or 10 a day, where you did that very personally, and then you did the rest via automation, and then like what comes. Even the stuff we do with automation, like there's still quite a lot of thought that goes into building of the list and the message, etc. So it's quite an interesting progression. But I think probably both of you, from what you said, if you look behind that, so both Andre and Inga so far, the profile that you have created has done a lot of that pre-selling for you. That's the point. So it's not just that the profile did the pre-selling, but the people you're speaking to, it's speaking to them. That was the point of all that trauma that we went through last year, and that massive amount of effort that we got to get to this point. But now you're seeing how it works. So as I was sort of saying to you, and in fact, if you hang on a second, I just want to open something. I'm actually preparing I'm doing something tomorrow, but let me show this to you quickly. So this is from a different presentation, but let me just share a screen with you and show you what's up here. Let's move us away as one does. So this over here, right, is actually what happens typically. So what we tend to find in the big scheme of things. So we've done this first piece, right? We've got to the point where the profile is sorted. I haven't quite shown you how to find the people. We'll do that next week. But once we've found the right people that are resonating with this with this avatar that is going to resonate with this profile, and we send those connection requests. Typically, about 20%, certainly of mine anyway, of the meetings that I ultimately will come from a connection request, simply because the person gets the connection request, says, "Who's James?" They have a look. If there's a need, they'll start a conversation, much like you did, Inga, and it leads to wherever, and invariably it's going to lead to a meeting, right? And so that just shows you the great power that just by sending a connection request, I can get somebody to start a conversation with me based on my profile. And it's the same with all of you, right? One of the big issues that we face, and this is something for all of you to remember, even post this program that we do, is that the biggest problem with people is not necessarily that they don't want to speak to you. A lot of them don't, to be fair. There's only a small percentage, but a lot of those people, when they do view your profile, they look at the profile and they think to themselves, I really need to speak to Andre, but I'll speak to him on Monday. Okay. The problem is Monday, life gets in the way, and then you get forgotten, and that LinkedIn inbox is a terrible thing. You can never find anything in there. So it's the most awful inbox I've ever seen. So what we then do is we send a second message, and we'll cover the second message today, right? And you can send that relatively soon after they've accepted the connection request, even up to a week. When you send that second message, then what we're finding is it's the second sort of jolt. So now it's like, oh wow, this person sent me a second message, and the second message is a lot more thoughtful than the first one, as you'll see today. It's definitely a message that gets people's attention. They quite like it because, again, it's not pushy. And again, they go back, they then look at the profile again. And so we get probably about 30 to 35% of our meetings booked from that. So that was what I was kind of saying to you is if you have those two messages, you should be getting probably 40%, maybe even 50% of the meetings booked. The rest of the stuff all comes from subsequent, right? Where there's email and follow up and all sorts of other stuff. But just these two messages should comfortably get you 30 to 40%, right? So the numbers say if you are consistent and you send 100, and some of you, if you're lucky, will be able to send 200 connection requests. But even if you send 100 connection requests a week, and you get the average, which is somewhere between 30 and 60% generally of people to accept, there's always 1 to 3, and we find that figure pushes up probably to about 5%. So let's call it 1 to 5% of anybody in your market that's looking to buy whatever it is you're selling right now, right? And so that's where the numbers come from. It's just a numbers game. If you're consistent, people will look at your profile. If they need it, they'll start the conversation. Sometimes they need a bit of a nudge, and that's what the follow-ups are for. But a lot of people will respond to either the first or the second message. The follow-up really is just for the guys that wanted to but didn't get there. So this is how it works, right? This is kind of the maths, if you like, and the almost universal principles behind what drives sales. You know, I mean, in terms of sales, the guys will tell you it's a numbers game, and it's a predictable numbers game, even though you're dealing with different people. And this is why, quite simply. So really, that's what this whole thing is about. So let's pop you guys back here. Oops, let's try that. Does that make things a little bit clearer in terms of where we're at in terms of what you're trying to do? Does that help a little bit?
James, I'm consistent in sending out a daily joke, a daily dad joke, which sometimes goes down well and sometimes it falls flat, but that's the way of it. And for the first time in this last week, someone actually responded to my joke and liked it and commented. And I reached out to them. A couple of people have before, but they've all been people I know, and I know they're not going to be needing any bookkeeping services. So responded to this lady, and she connected with me, and we chatted for a bit, and then I found out she was in Pakistan, so I couldn't help her. But it did make that initial contact and talking point. So yeah, I've got a basic message for if someone contacts me, and now I'm just working on message for when I connect, send a request that is totally new.
Are you sending the joke in the connection request, or are you posting?
No. I just posted on my LinkedIn page as well as in Facebook, and I've just been growing my presence by that.
So the danger you face with that, the danger you face with that is that it's contrary to your positioning. So on LinkedIn, you're doing something. If you're going to post, I would rather post to build the value of what you do, because
it's all connected into bookkeeping, and I say I like to make bookkeeping fun, and that's why I send out a joke, and it's all comes back to how I can assist businesses and small service businesses and that. So it's
without seeing it, it's difficult to assess. But I mean, we know the profile that you've created is quite focused. But oftentimes with the outreach, what's going to happen if you post content? If you don't post content, you can't judge, right? If you post content, they'll look at the content. And the best content you have is the content that just screams at them and says, listen, I'm an expert, as opposed to something like that. So you might be building your following, but you're building your following with people that like dad jokes rather than people that need accounting services. That would, if I'm as somebody that does this all the time, I'm just giving you the frank advice when it comes to building the business and the profile and the way that people interact. We'd have to look at it, but just kind of bear that in mind. You LinkedIn is, I think on Facebook you get away with it more than on LinkedIn. Some people might enjoy that, but folks on LinkedIn are serious, eh? Understand, almost half the platform is active. Okay, 48% of over 1 billion people. Active means they go into LinkedIn at least once every 30 days. That's LinkedIn's definition of active. The average time the average person spends on LinkedIn is less than half an hour a week. Let that sink in for a second. Less than half an hour a week. Yet it's the most powerful business breakfast, business to business platform there is. What that's telling you is that people go there to focus. They want to buy stuff, they want to sell stuff, they want to learn stuff. You're breaking the mold a little bit. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying in the context that you're doing it, you might not be doing yourself a bunch of favors. So if after you start doing some messaging, people comment on your jokes and they start connecting and you start signing up 1 million clients, then I'm talking the biggest load of horseshit you've ever heard. But if not, it's worth trying to flip the switch. And
I'm planning on flipping the switch.
And just see.
But yeah.
But the fact that you're posting is great. And humor always goes down well. And particularly if you make bad jokes and you you sort of own it, people kind of get used to it. It's kind of cool. But that doesn't mean that people that are serious about taking you on as an accountant will want to follow the jokes. You know what I mean? So I'm just throwing it out there. You need to test it. If your messaging starts to bring clients in, fantastic. If not, tweak it and see, particularly in your postings, etc.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, cool. Anyone else? Costel, did you manage to catch up? You're still on mute. So we haven't caught up to you yet.
Hello. I was clicking and clicking. Yeah, maybe my computer's just a little bit tired. It's been busy. I have sent out some messages, and this week I've just had a bit of a mini explosion where my LinkedIn is concerned and other social media platforms. So yay!
Good.
I created messages and then redid it, and the ones that the 5 that I've come up with, I'm sort of happy with. It feels human. Taking in all the suggestions that Marion had made last week, you know, keeping that in mind of, you know, what people sort of watch out for. So yeah, and I used one of the messages as connection requests, and I've had quite a bit of success with it, and it's very simplistic. Now it's just, and I've already been interacting with people on it, so now I just need to follow up and keep them, my fingers on the pulse, and say, right, people, I'm still here. Don't forget about me, you know. So
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's fantastic. So I mean, honestly, all we're saying is we worked out who we want to speak to. We've then built a profile that speaks to them, and we've reached out in a conversational human way to connect. That's why I said to you, the profile does an amazing amount of the selling in this. I think you'll enjoy the message I give you today, because it sort of just takes us to another level. And then after that, you can start conversations, if you even have to, right? Because you might find that you're getting enough because you're sending those connection requests and people are coming back. So we'll have a look. We'll have a look at maybe at some of the messages, if you don't mind sharing to the group in terms of what you've got, etc. In just a minute. Well, actually, do you want to share something now while you've got
Yes.
the floor?
Let me just quickly
hang on.
so I can see it.
I probably have to give you permission. There you go.
Share. So
Not yet.
okay, can you see now?
Don't worry, the slow computer caught up.
So these are my 5 messages. And
Can you make it a bit bigger?
Yes.
You can see what she does for a living. She's already tracking it and working out what works. And by the way, which is something you should do, right?
So here's the first 2 messages. I haven't tested. I tested message 5 because it was the most easy to connect with people. These ones you need to really know the person's business and the environment that they're in, and the industry and stuff like that. So tell me what you think, and be brutal.
So any company must keep. Does that? Sorry, I tough to judge it. Does that fit into the 300 characters?
Yes.
It does. Okay, so running companies keep you very busy. I work with professionals like you to help streamline workloads to virtuals and services, anything from scheduling to email management. If you feel like there aren't enough hours a day, I'd love to explore how we can help. Let's connect. So the cool thing about that is that there's some research done, even if it is a cursory, but you're calling them out, and you've got a much more direct message, which I don't actually mind, to be honest. It's like, this is what I do. Maybe I can help. If you feel I can, let's connect. People might connect anyway, and maybe no one's actually approached them. And as you say, it's a nice, calm, sensible way. So, you know, those sorts of things are good. You know, there's the value. That's what I do. If I can help, let me know. Let's connect. Yeah, it's nice. Show me. Okay, let's see this one. So balancing specific responsibility, data tasking overwhelming, distance works, professions like you. I'd move from the we to I. With it, because remember, this is person to person. So the first one's is a lot better than this one from the perspective. Operations like you, reclaim time, I take care. This resonates. That I don't love that message. That's quite salesy.
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah, the first one was more converse. Was it more? So actually, you went here last week. One of the big things with ChatGPT, right? Particularly if you're using it, and sometimes it's good to help you to create messages, is give ChatGPT an instruction. Then it will produce a piece of content, whatever it is, a message, doesn't matter. And then if you don't like it, then you say to it, no, I don't like this, rewrite it doing this. So you might take that exact same message, stick it back into chat and say, rewrite this in a more conversational tone. You'll find that the second iteration that it gives you based on your updated prompt is probably 50 to 90% better than the first one. virtually every single time. It's kind of weird. It's a little idiosyncrasy to do with ChatGPT. Okay, so I work with professionals like you to help
This is
on the
the
workload, the virtuals and services. Find yourself needing an extra hand to manage tasks. I'd love to explore. Yeah.
so this is
So
the one I've been sending out that I've had that's been quite successful so far. And it's just gentle. I find it quite gentle. So I don't know.
yeah. So there's no, hey, I want to sell you anything. It's just let's connect. Yeah. So I work with people like you. This is what I do. Hey, if you need an extra hand, love to chat. You know, I might even simplify it like that, but that's again, I'm rid of the assistant works key. I would try that. I mean, test it, but
Okay.
like I like to be a lot more personal in the messages. You've popped it at the bottom anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Perfect.
so
I'm
I
gonna
want
try
to deal.
that.
I want to deal with Christelle. I want to deal with assistant works. I know who they are. but guys, simple, right? Simple, conversational. There's some value in there. Not screaming, I want to tell you something. It's like, hey, let's see if I can help, or let's explore. Let's connect. Very, very simple and straightforward. I kind of and I quite like it. So Andre, if you kind of look at the two approaches, right? In her approach, she's probably going to get less acceptance than you are in terms of percentage, but she's already getting engagement because people know what's up. You only stand a chance of getting engagement now when you send the second message. And when she sends the second message, it will be the same. She's already stacking on. So can you see? It's subtle, but it's huge.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I've completely missed that point where there's actually, you know, I only saw it as a connect, and it's not just a connect. It's a first step to a communication.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm.
Anyway, well, Christelle, well done. Okay, cool. Marianne, you gave us a lot to think about last week. How'd you go?
And I've struggled this week.
Okay.
Because I'm selling an intangible service. I found it really hard to find a point of connection. Because it's like saying, I mean, you can walk up to somebody that you've never met and say, you know, do you have an overactive inner critic? You know, are you, you know, does self-doubt sabotage your plans? So I'm not quite sure where to start with this.
What did you come up with in terms of messaging?
I didn't.
Yeah, you just bashing your head.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just kind of thought I don't know where to start. So what I have done is I've started looking for groups on LinkedIn where people might be making comments that I could respond to. And that might send them, look, you know, sort of create an interest in me. Or I could see their comments and then invite them to connect and then take it.
So don't stress about that part yet. Concentrate on the message, right?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
here's what I would do if I was you. Like I showed you last week, download your PDF of your profile.
Mm-hmm. Did that, yeah.
Then go to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to write some connection messages that are value-based and in a conversational tone based on my profile. Give me 5 messages and see what it gives you. ChatGPT is really good at joining the dots. So
Yeah.
you spent that time on your profile, and if you can give it more context about you before just doing that, do that. The more context you give it, the better it's going to be. Let it generate some ideas for you to start with. The messages probably will be terrible, but
Because
right now,
I did that, and the messages.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But do what I said to you is that the first message often is crap, and it's crap because of the way that the AI is created, right? It's designed to be very predictable, and so it is. It's going to give you the answer based on the data that it has. and without the right context, it becomes difficult. So when it responds to you, you then have to almost like jolt it out of AI mode, you know, into personalization mode. That's what you're doing. So I promise you that that next prompt that you put in really takes it to another level. So try that, and you'll be amazed at what you get. And just look for some ideas. And if you don't like, say, give me 5 more ideas. I don't like those. What else? What else? And just get some ideas. Just so like with Christelle, you can have something that's really, really simple, as like, you know, in terms of what you do, without it sounding like you're trying to find people that are a little bit crazy and overwhelmed. But you'll find those ideas that you can use just based on your profile. You've put the thought into that.
Yeah, it's
try that,
thing
and it'll get you started.
actually, yeah, because ChatGPT was the usual thing about I saw your profile and I like working with inspiring women, and thinking, God, it's not the kind of stuff. But then it goes on to say things about, you know, self-doubt, and I'm thinking, if this is such an inspiring woman, why am I assuming what, you know, why is it on the receiving end? I think, well, if you find my profile so inspiring, why do you assume I'm full of self-doubt? It doesn't.
So like, you also got to be a little bit careful, right, when you are when you're speaking to people. So how marketing works, right, is if there's something good, then it's you. If it's something bad, that's
Do you have a friend?
other people, or you know, maybe it's you. So you have to be very careful in messaging. So I wouldn't be talking about self-doubt. I would be spinning that in a I'd be putting a positive message out there, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the messages that.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you is
like that because it was going in that.
Treat ChatGPT like a conversation. So you say, no, listen, this is no good. Try this. And the more you converse with it and the more you put it right, the better those messages will get. So no, write them again. I don't like this. And then exactly like you said to me, how can I say it's inspiring and talk about self-doubt? That makes no sense. Rewrite this so it makes sense. Just literally tell it exactly as you have in the conversation.
I'll get it to put a positive spin on it. Okay.
And eventually it'll get there.
Okay.
All right, cool. Mamuli, how's it?
Hi guys. Yeah, sorry for missing the last one. I watched the recordings.
Yeah, you can even say compliments of the season, because like the month is nearly over. It's not quite, so we let you in.
Yeah, compliments of the season. Yeah.
There you go.
Interesting point that Marian raises, because you know, in my space I've noticed that the finance, I guess, influencers, you'd call it, financial literacy influencers. It's weird how the ones that tell people you suck, you broke because of your habits, and like those guys that are really rough, they really do tend to have a lot of followers, and people like hang on to their every word. So I'm not sure where the balance is. Thing is, it's just not in my nature, so I can't flow in that manner. But I'm just, from what I've seen, is maybe don't be afraid on calling out people on that which they're suffering in. It does bring a certain element of, oh, okay, you're very much aware of what I'm going through. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like those books called, to be like Finance for Dummies. So personally, I don't buy those books, because then the inference is that I'm a dummy, and that I find that offensive. But those books sell hundreds of thousands of copies. So there is a part of society, and it seems a huge chunk, that takes the bashing, I guess, in a manner that, oh, you really know what I'm going through, so I really need to look to you. So I'm not sure what I'm saying do with that. I'm just saying it's something that I've observed.
I get that in the posts. You know, I understand you can do that in the post because you're not addressing an individual. And so anybody who reads the post can identify with it or not. But when I'm sending a connection message to you, and I say something, I work with people who suffer with self-doubt. How does that come across to you?
Okay, so okay, then I'll go back to what James shared in terms of um,
Know anybody?
studies have shown
Okay.
that the people that achieve a lot, you sometimes have, etc. And I mean, there's a friend of mine, Kaylee. Kaylee went to Cambridge, for crying out loud. She's actually Dr. Kaylee, but the amount of self-doubt and low self-esteem, it's weird. So she goes for all these awards to try and fill that gap. So that, I would say in studies have shown that overachievers, da 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 da. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
but I find it weird that the dissing and the bashing somehow, because even Tony Robbins is quite direct on what a person is struggling with. It's like, not achieving your goals because you suck, and somehow that translates to someone booking. Just my thoughts.
I don't think it translates for everybody, right? So you also got to take with a pinch of salt followers versus clients. So you don't actually know. But people are weird. Like they like to see other people suffer. It's kind of a crazy thing. I don't know that necessarily pushes them to the point where they buy. Notwithstanding that, right? You're not that guy. You can't write that. It's like it would be so incongruent. Like you would not be able to get yourself press the button to push publish. Your finger will not let you do it, right? And if you did, like you would not sleep for 6 weeks. You'd go and delete that post because it would bother you that much, right? So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You just do you, and you be you. And as I said to you last year when we were building this, everybody has a story, and that story is very authentic, and it's very relevant to certain people, more relevant to some people than others. Your story is not the relevant one to the naysayers. It's the people that are more positive or understated that are going to resonate with you. So yeah, just be you. Don't worry about what shit that everybody else does. That's what I
James,
would. Yeah.
if I can do a bit of marketing, if you don't mind.
Sure. That's why we're here, right?
Exactly.
Secondary goal.
That's exactly what we do when we do brain profiling. So when we do a brain profile, you know exactly how your brain thinks, why your brain thinks like that, what you're scared of, what you're trying to avoid, why you have self-doubt, where you all the levels that you're on and how you can improve it. Because the moment you understand the why, coming back to Tony Robinson, that's also what he says. If you understand the why of something, then you can actually tackle it and do it. If you understand why you shy when you walk into a boardroom and people look at you, then you can fix it. Otherwise, you can't fix it.
So it sounds like the three of you should be having a little meeting and doing some stuff together. I'm not even being facetious. I'm being dead serious, because you all do something similar and related, and you've got something that you can potentially add.
Yes.
Some good news to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that really jerked at him, like, you have to go back to this. So someone did a referral, an acquaintance did a referral to someone at Sanlam to speak at some event. And she showed me the response. So the response is, one thing about you as in the referrer, you are the business. Saw your email, even looked up the guy on LinkedIn, I am sold. So the
There you go.
decision maker or client went to LinkedIn, looked at everything and said, that's our man, quotation approved, and it's at a very nice rate.
Congratulations.
And it's
Well done.
so I think, thank you, Crystal. Thank you, James. So this is
Yeah.
testament to, they heard about you, they went to LinkedIn, it's congruent, they want to work, they approved the quotation at an awesome rate, and there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
It's great. And listen, this is still very early. Like we haven't even done any of the real heavy lifting in terms of getting into the process. Once you start sending those connection requests, this will grow. But I mean, we've had quite a few of you already have said there's been some input already, and you know, people connecting, etc. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
I think the interesting thing was, so before the LinkedIn viewing, there was an issue about budget and da da da. But all I did was I kept my mouth shut. It was like, that's my rate, and I just be quiet. And then after the LinkedIn, it's like, oh no, don't worry. All of a sudden, the budget things have removed. So
They've been
it
resolved.
works. It works. It works.
Oh, fantastic. Editor, in the dark. We think you're there, we're not sure. Ah, you'll have to get yourself off mute though.
Yeah, I am.
How's it?
So thank you so much. I actually started making changes on my website because probably I right now came up to something that I like more. Because thinking about whatever, let's just cut this short into the point. So should I read you what I'm considering to send as my conversation thing? Yeah. So do you see it on
not yet.
sharing, or should I just
No, share it on the screen.
Again is the same problem. I think I'm too old, that's why I cannot just remember the actually easy stuff.
It's all the same for all of us, don't worry. You're amongst friends, yeah. Don't worry. You're amongst friends.
Do you see something?
No, it's coming. There you go. Okay.
Okay. So this is it. Okay, because I'm actually working when we chatting about it. I always like picking your brain, and I'm adding something that came up to my mind while while somebody else is sharing. Yeah. But the actually final my one is the following. Hope you're hi. And then I would just put the name because I think it would be nice. Hope you are doing well. I'm a business broker. I often work with accountants and advisors who come across businesses owners looking to sell. If you ever have a client considering an exit, I would love to connect and see how I can help. No pressure at all and no commitments. Would be great to connect. Chatting and brainstorming can give some positive results. What do you think?
The only thing I don't like about that message, and that's not your fault, is that first part. Hope you're doing well. It's just because that's a chat GPTism. You see a lot of that, and that's very old school. That just gives away, that just screams bad. So if you take that out, quite direct, but again, a lot of value. And again, like, you're going to sell, you're not selling them anything, right? The great thing about you is that you're in a potential asset down the track. So that's what you want to sell. It's kind of like, hey, when you need me, you should be connected to me so that I'm just, a call away. And that's kind of what you've got there. I was just broken. I often work with accountants and advisors who come across business owners looking to sell. I'd personalize that a bit more, right? Come across business owners. It's like whose clients need to sell their business. That's more personal, right? So that's the sort of thing I would write there. If you have a client, and I would not one block of text, like break it up so that's easy to read, right? So if you have a client considering an exit, I'd love to connect, see how I can help. No pressure.
And no commitments, because people don't like this kind of thing.
And no commitments. That's fantastic. I like that. Would be great to connect. Chatting and brainstorming can give positive results. I would just take would be great to connect. I'd make that my last piece. Just take that piece out and make that your final call to action. Just
this one. Should I take it out or
no? The piece before it would be great to connect. Cut and paste that right at the bottom.
Okay.
So this message, right, is the type of message. Remember when we were talking? This is the sort of thing you can send it to 100 accountants. The same message will be good. you could personalize it to each individual person, but then that's a different story. But that's a great message. You know, it's low pressure. You know the value. You know who I am. Let's connect. It's like connect or don't, right? But why wouldn't accountants connect with business owners?
And I would like to explain actually my point of view, because yeah, I was approached by a couple of people, and some of them, they first chatting, oh, you have a lovely face, oh, you look like this, oh, whatever, and then they coming to the point, oh, you know what, I'm a financial advisor, if you would like to, or whatever, if you would like to learn how to invest too, I can be here. It's like, you know what, why are you starting with a long conversation and going through so many hassles to just come to the point that you want me to connect because of that, yeah? Or just you looking for a client. So I don't know, maybe it's just like reflects my personality that I'm always like straight to the point, just say what you want and I will tell you if I can do it or not, yeah?
Actually, the people who start like that often scams.
Yeah, exactly, and not like from left, from right, up and down, whatever. It's just only, hey, I would like to connect because you never know what can happen. Yeah, I can need you, you can need me, and I think that's why I just didn't know how to prompt a ChatGPT in a proper way. I'm still actually working on it, but that would be something, as close as to what I feel it's correct.
Yeah, so you must always do what you think is right, and you see the terrible messages you get. Our inboxes are all full of them. Don't do any of that, and just do you. So all the messages today, you guys have done really well. It's been very low key. Maybe just make them a bit more conversational here and there, but it's low key. This is what I can do. Let's connect. I was like, if you need me, I'm here. So what happens, right, is that when people see that, then they go and they look at the profile, and then it's the numbers game. Like if they're in that 1 to 3% or 1 to 5%, or maybe in a case like with Ruli where they needed verification, those things happen. That's when they go to the profile. If they like what they see, then the conversation starts. It's really as simple as that. And so you're not going to have millions of conversations. That's not the point. But the ones you have will be good. Because like there's no, hey, you got a nice face bullshit in here. It's like, yeah, that's what we want, right? They know what it's about.
Or whatever. They sometimes like coming up with such a cheesy point.
Yeah, and you get an accountant who has a client who's just broached the subject, or he looks at his client and he knows that he should recommend that the client sells the business. Suddenly you're right time, right place. It's just a conversation, and then you're in. So it's good, very good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. I just want to see. Sorry, I'm going to stop the share. I just want to see who's left. Montebeko.
Hi.
How's it?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah. Okay. I didn't send out messages because for me, I think my LinkedIn profile up until now had been it was driven by the people who were sending to me, wanting to connect. And so the conversations have truly been informal conversations. So since starting this process, kind of realizing that I don't just want now to engage without being focused in what I want to do. So did the profile in December, and I was happy with what I achieved there. And so what I did was just to work on the notes to do a few things with LinkedIn. And so I first used my profile, and I why is it like this?
Sorry, you use your profile and what?
First, I sent my profile. Okay. First, I sent my profile and asked LinkedIn to generate those value messages. That was the first thing that I picked. Yeah. Then after that, then I picked one person, I think the last person to connect with me. And I picked their profile. And then I sent it to LinkedIn for LinkedIn to send me the connect messages. So the stuff that I have is I then tried to match the two. I don't know what's happening. Where is the I'm trying to find. Okay, let me just.
All right, it's coming. Come on, Zoom. Nice. Double click to enter full screen mode.
Come again?
Looks like we go to double. Okay, there we go. Cool.
So I'm not able to get. I was trying to get to the page with the notes, and where I had extracted everything and I put it on that page.
Okay, so you see you got template 5 there. At my work at FC, especially your focus on innovation and sustainable development across Africa, as a government practitioner, I've seen firsthand our strong governance.
Sorry, James. Sorry, let me just. Okay.
Okay, now I've got vertigo.
Okay, let's go back to 5 then. Okay, these are the things I extracted from these 3. I picked out of the 5 that ChatGPT had sent me. I picked up the 3 and then I refined them in the main document. But we can look at this because I think it's fine.
Yes. So your work is focused on innovation and sustainable development in Africa. As a governance practitioner, I've seen firsthand how strong governance can help businesses thrive while ensuring it of long-term value. I'd love to connect and explore how we can generate governance strategies. Okay, so that last bit way too salesy, right? It's like
yes, that's why I've got two markets, because I thought it doesn't belong to me. And I thought, yeah, I need to take it out. That was my thinking as well.
Yeah, so not even I'd love to connect and explore. I just love to connect. Just leave it at that. Of a person of strong governance. Yeah, I'd love to connect. You don't even have to go any deeper than that. Somebody knows, like they kind of understand that you've done a bit of research. You know the company. You know they're focusing on innovation. That's pretty good. That's going to get their attention. Like you could only write that to them, which is great. And they say, listen, this is what I do. Let's connect. If they need governance, they will reach out. But they'll probably accept the connection request. So that's nice and simple. A lot of value understated.
The next one.
What are you reading? 3.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by your commitment to sectors like education, energy, and agriculture. So again, Marianne would be like turning in her chair there. I'm really impressed. I don't think she'd be approving. And I kind of agree. You know, you got to be careful with that compliment stuff. That might actually work, but I might tweak that. Really impressed with the commitment sectors like education, energy, and agriculture. Which was sustainable development as governance practitioner. Okay, well, yeah. So same story as down. They take the other stuff out. Yeah, I mean, it's simple. I would try it. Try it, get it out there, and see what happens. Obviously, one of the keys is going to be to send it to the right people, or we'll deal with that next week. But for now, yeah, the thinking and what you've done is starting to work.
This is the final one.
All right. Approaching businesses that empower communities to promote economic growth truly resonates with me. So that could be true. Nothing wrong with that. My work as a governance practitioner, I've seen how good governance structures can scale these businesses with purpose and impact. I'd love to connect. Yeah, great. Know what you do. You're not selling the crap out of anything, and it's like it's an extension, an invitation to connect. So those sorts of connection requests will work well. And so you're already setting the scene for next message. All right. I'm going to take the screen back. I'm just a little cognizant of time to get the last piece in for you guys. Adil, did you have a chance to look at anything? I don't think you've been with us this year yet, so not sure you're up to speed.
Hi, James. I actually haven't had time to catch up, but seeing as though everybody was showing their brilliant messages, I decided to type a couple out quickly whilst I was in the background. Like the connection messages.
Okay.
Just want to quickly share the screen so then you can give me a couple of pointers on them. Okay. Can you guys see?
Not yet. It seems to be a delay today. I don't know what it is. Must be a Zoom thing. It's like we assume you pressed the button. Okay, well, you almost pressed the button. Try again.
No, I did though. It just
it's not liking you, bro. Don't know what you did.
Yeah.
You have angered the Zoom gods. They're not going to show your screen. Try one last time.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay, Zoom hates you. Okay, read one. Let's see.
Okay, so let's see which is a good one to go with. Okay, so I've got here. Hi, whoever it is I'm talking to. I noticed your experience in whichever particular industry or field, and I appreciate the work you're doing. As an attorney focused in the same similar fields, I work with businesses to ensure legal security and strategic growth. Would it be a ridiculous idea to connect and see how we might support each other's professional goals? Looking forward to your thoughts. Best, Adil.
I like some of it. The call to action's a little strong for now, right? So it's too early to ask for that. So I'll just there's a place for that type of call to action, but it's probably not in a connection message. You know, I would just say, would you be open to connecting? And just leave it at that. And then the first bit, just read your first bit again.
I noticed your experience in whichever field and industry they're in, and I appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah,
As an attorney focused.
Stop there. Yeah. So that compliment is like, you appreciate the work I'm doing. You don't even know me. It's like, I would just say I noticed. I noticed that you're in this field, and as an attorney, and just move into it. Maybe you noticed it on, if you were looking at their profiles individually and there was something specific that they did, you could bring up that specific thing. But honestly, all you got to do is notice. You know, hey, I noticed that you guys are in this industry and an attorney specializing in the same place, blah, blah, blah. Then your message hits. So the thrust of the message is good. Just tone it down a lot. The first bit and the end bit. You got to be so careful with the personalization and coming across as disingenuous. So sometimes instead of giving a compliment, make an observation, as opposed to, you can't go wrong with observation. Compliment can get you in trouble. So it just depends. Sometimes the compliment makes sense, but if it doesn't, just try to put yourself in their shoes and say, you got this message from this attorney you don't know, and he wrote this. Like, is this true? So some people will take it one way and others will take it the other way. But if you just say, hey, I noticed, and particularly if there was something specific about it, I noticed you're in this industry doing something specific, because on their website or their LinkedIn profile, they claim to be doing that thing within the industry. Then it's very personal. Okay. You made the observation, they can see you did the work, and now it makes sense. Oh, okay, he noticed. Oh, he works in the same industry. So now there's resonance as well, starting to make sense. So I like that piece. You know, we work with clients in the same industry, even if you don't. That goes for all of you.
I have one more, if you don't mind giving me your take on it.
Okay.
So it looks like we're in complementary fields, and I'd love to connect. I run Mohideen Attorneys, where I assist businesses with legal matters from compliance to dispute resolution. Given your background in and whatever type of field that they're in, I believe there's potential for valuable discussions. Would it be a bad idea to connect and exchange insight?
The problem with that connect and exchange insights and network, that shit's been overdone. And so people's guard gets put up. It's not bad in principle, but it's overdone. So in terms of cliche, the blinkers go up. So you want to get rid of all of that. Just be conversational, honestly. So a lot of that is good. You don't have to mention your firm name. Just say, I'm an attorney. Just be you, not keep the corporate out. That's the whole point here. And find the corporate if they need to. This is about you. Be conversational. Just connect on a personal level. Again, it doesn't have to be chit chat. None of us have written chit chat messages. It's quite direct and to the point. It's like, okay, we noticed there is a congruence here. Hey, are you open to conversation? In this case, it's are you open to connect? But the next step is, are you open to a conversation?
Okay.
So, all right. Cool. Bruce.
James.
Bruce always sits there so quietly. It's like he's always sits there. He's always the last in. I don't know. He must plan this. And he's like, he sneaks in.
Light as well. There we go.
Okay.
A little bit of light. Yeah, no, I haven't done any real communication yet. I've had a few people approach me. So yeah, it's just based on my LinkedIn profile that I've had approaches, people looking for me to raise finance.
So that's good news, right? So again, some of us, right, are in the right space, and have a particular need. So Bruce is one of those people because he's quite niched. And so when somebody's looking, he really doesn't have a lot of competitors, and the profile and the experience and the backing behind it is very, very solid. And so that happens. People look at it and they reach out. So it's quite good to hear. There's quite a few of you have kind of shown today that the power of the profile has been quite strong. So all of that work that you guys did and all of that validation, it's really starting to pay dividends. Once you guys start pumping out those messages and you're consistent, you'll see it happens a lot more. But all right, cool. We'll pick that up a bit later. Let me take the screen back from you guys. Actually, let me share. So this is, sorry, that is wrong presentation now. So what we're going to do now is I want to talk to you about the okay, that's what we did before. We're up to date, right? So we did, that was last week. So today what we're going to do is the thanks for connecting message. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so what's happened, you sent connection request, they've accepted, but that's all they did. Nothing else had happened. Now we know that timing is an issue and that there are people there that want to talk to you, but we don't know who they are. So we're going to send this connection, or this follow up, the thanks for connecting message. So this will go out. You can send it out relatively soon after, up to even a week. It's actually fine to send this out. So kind of here's the objectives and the theory, right? So there's three things that we're trying to do in this message. The first one is we're going to thank them for connecting. You will be amazed at how few people do that. It's like, I send you a connection request, you say yes. Is it not just common courtesy to say thank you? Right? That's what that is. And even that gets you in front of people, just if that's all that you did, right? But leaving it there, you want to do a little bit more. The next thing now is, and this is now where you'll really see the benefit of how the profile works together with that connection message to really push the conversation forward. The next piece is you want to introduce yourself. Okay, We'll talk about how to do that in a second. And then you want to have a go at starting a conversation, right? So typically when you're having a conversation with somebody, one of my best advice is ignore everything I'm about to tell you and just take every damn meeting you can get in the beginning. But you'll get to a point where that you're having meetings that you don't want. So typically you'll start a conversation. In the conversation, you're trying to establish whether, in fact, that person has the need, whether that need is urgent, and then once you get to that point where you feel you can help, that's the time you want to propose a meeting. Right? So typically that would be the process that goes through. But we want to start the conversation some way. So those are kind of our three objectives. So the template looks like this, a very simple template, right? Hi, first name. Always, as editor was saying, always call out the person's name. You're not hey or hi or like nothing, right? Because for a lot of people, it takes some effort to type their name out, right? As I think I told you before, the sweetest word in the English language other than free is a person's name. So always do that. Then thanks for connecting, right? I think that's all that is. This is the cool piece. This is the piece that is kind of the pattern interrupt that breaks stuff for everybody. Is you're going to introduce yourself in a way that's relevant to them, so that, and when you do, you want to make sure that they know what you do. Okay, and again, it's conversational, it's personalized, and we have an opportunity to do two things here. The first thing is we talk about a little bit of personal stuff, and the second thing is we talk about professional stuff. Okay, I'll show you in an example that looks like. And then the last thing is now you try to start a conversation. I used to be a big fan of the open-ended question. I've become a lot fonder now of a simpler question, just to get them to answer. So even if the answer is yes or no, right? Because we don't really want to tax people too much. I just want the conversation to start. This or that question is a very good question. We'll talk a bit more about that in a second. And then obviously you'll just sign it off as your name. So here is an example, right? So you say, hi, first name, thanks for connecting. I thought I'd quickly introduce myself, ... right? So it means there's more to come when we use the ellipses. So a lot of people will introduce themselves on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm Joe Soap. We like really good at doing this. We helped somebody else like you, XYZ and JKLM Pty Limited, who does what you do, to do these amazing things. I'd love to set up a meeting with you so we could do the same for you. Are you available for a consultation next week? Right? Everybody's puking all over that. Okay. But this completely breaks the barrier. I thought I'd introduce myself. Then I start the next word with personally. Right? At this point, people are like, what? Then I go in and there's a little formula to this, right? The formula goes like this. It's a conversation starter. Excuse me. And what I'm trying to do is to let people know that I'm a real human. That's all there is to it. So I'm giving 3 different conversation starters to people. I'm throwing out 3 little hooks into the water. The hooks are diverse, they're not the same. And all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect with them at that level, and I'm giving them the opportunity, should they want, when they respond to me, to hook onto any of those hooks so they can start the conversation. So the first one for me is I'm a father, right? So, pardon me. So that is now already resonating with every parent, which is almost everybody. Okay, so I've already got a big resonance there. The next thing I talk about is I like magic, right? So there are not many people that like magic. It's a very niche hobby. But the people that do, this has been amazing. Every single person that's ever liked magic has responded to me, and everyone that has responded that they like magic, I've had a meeting with them. Not always, didn't always turn into business, but friends and all sorts of other interesting things. So I like magic, and then the other universal one is sports teams. So I support Manchester United, the Lions and Ferrari. So you must know how miserable my life is right now. Anyway, but that's another story. But this one here in particular, I didn't plan this. It's just worked out extraordinarily well for me. This Manchester United thing is a really interesting one, because it's quite an emotive team. It's quite a divisive team. Like it's one of those teams, you love them or you hate them. There's no like middle of the road with them, right? So when I write that, if I happen to come across a fellow Manchester United supporter, my God, do they commiserate with me? We will talk for an hour about how shit our team is if we get on a call, right? We won't even talk business. That's all we'll talk about. And they'll write back to me in the message, yeah, shame, and then we'll get into a bit of a conversation. But that conversation has now started. I'm talking to them, right? If they are everybody else that hates Manchester United, oh boy, are they happy to tell me that. Let me assure you, anybody that can stick the knife in will, in a nice, playful way, right? But anybody is prepared. So this stupid little line in my message, I support Manchester United. I cannot tell you how many conversations that starts in my life. A lot. Okay. So you can see I've resonated with parents. I've resonated with, I do something else. And the interesting thing with this message, you'll see when you send it out, people will respond to you, and then they mimic the structure of the message in reply. So they know. So they'll tell me, oh, I play golf, I'm a mountain biker, yeah, scuba diver. They'll tell me whatever the hell it is that they do. But good. Now I've got ammo. The conversation can go on. So I want to stop at this point, and I want to show you that there's been 4 significant things that have happened. Right. And this message was taken from all sorts of different pieces. It took me a long time to build it. So like, you are not allowed to share this with anybody. This is like proprietary stuff, right? So the first thing is I'm addressing them by name. Then I'm thanking them, right? 2 things not everybody does. Then I'll introduce myself, and then I start with something personal. Like by the time I get here, like they're in. Like you are reading the rest of this message. I can write whatever the hell I want here. I can write 3 pages, you will read it. Promise you, right? But I don't. And then I pivot. Now, I normally pivot by saying professionally, then I'll say personally, and then I'll say professionally. And then, like a lot of you did in kind of your introduction, professionally, this is what I do. You know, I help accountants and financial advisors generate more clients. Boom. Sometimes I used to do this. I don't necessarily recommend this anymore because I'm trying to make it a bit shorter. But again, your why. And a lot of you put that on your LinkedIn profile. You can have a line or 2 that just references that. And then here's the killer line. Feel free to use me as a resource. So what I've done is I've been cool, first of all. Then I've had a subtle pitch. Okay. I'm not asking anything. I'm just saying this is what I do. But I've earned the right to say that. And nobody's losing their minds and thinking I'm a jerk at this point because I've been very cool up until here. And then I soften that again and I say, hey, please feel free to use me as a resource. So I've left it open. It's an invitation. And then I have a go at the question. I wouldn't ask this question again. This is an older message, but I want to ask people, well, like, do you need leads? But I can't ask them because then I've undone all this good work, right? So this question can't be a salesy type question. So I said, look, I'm also the best-selling author, and I'm writing a book as we speak, teaching accountants and financial professionals how to get new clients. I love your input on one point in particular that I'm researching for the book. So that was true, and this was before I published the book. Can you please tell me how you're getting new clients? So the people that did respond, told me that there was a need for that, and I could get into conversation. And I also did a lot of market research. But that's quite a in reflection, I don't think I would do this today. I would ask a different question, you know, and the question could just be something about their business, just to start, or like a yes no question, or a this or that. So a this or that question is, did you connect with me because you're interested in my content, or because you're interested in lead generation? I just ask you that question. It's very easy to answer that, like yes or no. Okay. So that is, sorry. So that's the structure of a really, really good thanks for connecting message. Very, very simple. So if you scroll down to the next page, Andre, yes, why have you not asked for for the notes.
I actually thought I'm not going to ask today. I'm going to leave it till 1 minute before 5.
Yeah, it's still 1 minute before, whether you ask or not. Hang on, I got to give you this. That's quite funny.
I'm testing you today.
Yeah, man, nah, come on. You've thrown me off completely now. Let me just get this. Dun, 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 dun. So what I did with you, okay, I'm going to send that. I'm actually going to just open that document also. Sorry, I need to just get out of here. So the PDF, what I did in it, if it decides to open. Hello. Oh, right. Let's try this. If you pop down to the bottom, right, this is the bit where you're going to fill it in. What I've done for you is I've written out the outline that I suggest you follow. So, in fact, up to there, you can leave exactly like is. My first name, thanks for connecting. I thought I'd just introduce myself. If you have a different way of speaking and saying it, change it by all means. That works. Then you're going to start this, yeah, personally, the 3 things. Then professionally, that's what I do. Then again, feel free to use me as a resource, and then the question to open a conversation. Boom. That's the message. This is an amazingly powerful message. Some of you have received this from me. Think about when you did, if that made an impact. That's probably the first time you would have seen something like this. While we do have 4 minutes before I've got to go. Do you guys have any questions on anything from today?
Yes, James, I have a question.
Yeah.
I missed the last 2 weeks sitting at my desk and forgot to join. But you mentioned, you showed everyone how to connect, how to refine who to send to the people you want to connect with on Sales Navigator, but you didn't show it on just plain LinkedIn.
I haven't actually really got into that. I might have shown you a demo or two, but I would have told you at the time, this is not showing you how to do it. So next week we'll talk LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. So it's kind of like it's chicken and egg. Do I show you how to find them first and then give you the message, or do we write the message and then show you how to find them?
Yeah.
It's like,
okay.
So I flipped a coin, and it was easier for me to do the messaging first. So that's what we did.
Sales Navigator, at this stage, I can't afford that. My business can't afford that at the moment. So I'm going to have to stick with the freebie LinkedIn.
So just speaking of Sales Navigator, if you guys are entitled to a free 1 month trial of Sales Navigator. So how this works is if you haven't paid for or taken a trial of any LinkedIn product in the last 12 months, you'll be able to claim that. So what I want to suggest is if you haven't claimed it, don't do it now, but maybe next week. Take it for a month, because this is going to be your time. Play around with it. In fact, what you'll be able to do is you can build massive lists. So you can build a list for the next 6 months with a free connection. So we'll speak to you all about that next week. But don't activate anything yet, okay? And even in my one-on-one coaching, I always say to people, don't activate it yet. Get to this point where you guys have written the messages, and the messages are done. Now we activate, because now you get the full use, and then you'll be able to test: is Sales Navigator worth it versus LinkedIn? It's not a cheap product. It's $1,250 a month. But if that's your business, then it works.
Yeah.
But it's,
if I get a few clients for 30 days,
you'll be fine without it, though, to be quite honest. So don't stress. Like Andre, for example, he needs it, right? Because and Marion needs it, and Montebecco needs it. Christelle, you could probably even get away without it. I'd suggest Inga, you need it. Maruli probably needs it. Bruce definitely needs it. Adil probably needs it. Edit could get away without it, but it would be better to have it. I would say. So
Sorry,
you'll see.
James,
It's horses for courses. Yeah.
I'm just curious, why do some of us need it and others can get away?
Because some for some of us to get to the right people, you need the additional filters that Sales Navigator gives. Otherwise, you just can't find them effectively. For some people, there's enough out there for you to get by with just LinkedIn. It's like you're not going to run out. But particularly for us with specialist stuff going on, Sales Navigator is a huge win. Like if you can afford it, you should get it. Like whoever you are. But typically, what I found with my coaching, whether it's one-on-one stuff or group, half the people continue and half don't. That's about a 50-50 split. It is what it is.
Okay.
And some of it's just affordability. It's not because they didn't want it, but some don't need it. So that's all good.
Yeah, thanks, James.
All right, guys. That one, sorry, I almost forgot, but we got so engrossed. So I sort of need to apologize because I didn't actually realize this, but I gave you guys that GPT. But apparently, if you don't have the paid version, it takes you quite a while to get through it. So Delwyn sat through the sessions and got through it. So yeah, I need to look at that. I haven't had a chance yet to see what we do about it. But yeah, if you're going to use it, maybe just sit through it, or I'll have to create a toned down version of it. But the prompting is quite hectic. The prompting, but that's actually what also takes quite a lot of the bandwidth. So it's not so much the info that you put in. Anyway,
perhaps just put a notice that if you don't have the paid for version, this might take a bit longer. And
Well, it's not so much.
I didn't know because I did not have it. It's only now that I know. So now I have to go back to the drawing board and see what I want to do with it.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway.
not that it takes long. You can't. You've got to wait for about 6
that's
hours
what I mean.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that it's slow. It's just you've got to remember.
And if you
later.
does it not let you, like if you use 3.5?
No,
it
doesn't
won't
allow you to change platforms. No, I tried that. Yeah, because normally you can get away with using 3 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
I'll have to see what to do about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, cool.
Cool.
All right, well done, guys. I think you guys are well on the way. Crack this message, and then we'll start talking about how to find the people, and then you'll really be cracking. And you just start getting out there, and you'll be machines.
Wow.
Some of you are machines anyway. It's already starting, as you can see from some of the feedback. But yeah, next week we'll talk about that. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. All right.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.